When I was an impecunious young filmmaker, there was the Tolma Cinema at Euston, the cheapest cinema in London, or anywhere number 8211, 2 shillings at a time. A converted church, it was dirty, decrepit and gloriously eclectic. He showed everything they could find, new prints and old ones. Leopard number 8211, the original version, no subtitles, Hälsa Poppin, Rashomon, Svenska flickor I franska sexorgia. Incomplete prints, sudden random reels of other films, images catching fire in the projector. Magnificent. An education in cinema. But you didn't sit where the tramps peed. $1,980. A leaf hanging from a tree in the middle of a village in Kitui County, Kenya, an old grumpy western projected through an even more grumpy old projector and its generator, which were all driven B. An audience of hundreds, gathered at a distance of several kilometers. Unforgettable. Magic cinema of dreams, you rock us everywhere and always number 8211, ad astra and back, ad infinitum and beyond. The Respect. Not an ecstatic moment, but a tale of 3 cinemas, half a century ago. Nuneaton Racecourse was a former variety theatre, rumoured to be cattle in faded velvet seats. Never mind, for dead teenagers, lowering your voice to get into French films like La Ronde, it was an escape into an exotic world far from the industrial Midlands. Then there was the Phoenix at Oxford in the late 1950s and the films of Ingmar Bergman, Andrzej Wajda and the first splash of the French New Wave. Finally, there was the Academy, on Oxford Street in London, where we shared the joys of Czech films from the 60s, Closely Watched Trains, A Blonde in Love, aka Love's a Blonde, and many others. They were all cinemas with fond memories. Number 8211, and not a whiff of fast food in any of them. My first time at the movies was to see The Magnificent Seven at Hammersmith Odeon, London. I remember rubbing my hand along the wall and being shocked that it was carpeted. The West Indians have a great affiliation with westerns, and watching that with my father was a great thing. The film was incredible, an amazing cacophony of sound and image. I had butterflies in my stomach up to my chest. I should also mention a morning reissue of North by Northwest 20 years ago at Lumiere at St Martin's Lane, an underground cinema in central London that you would go down 3 or 4 flights of stairs, losing the reality of life in London, and find yourself in this beautiful oval space, as if you were inside a whale rib cage. Alfred Hitchcock created this film for an audience. He orchestrated their oohs and ahs, when they leaned forward and when they sat down. He wasn't a person on the couch at home distracted by his phone or the doorbell or going for a drink. The place was full of energy, and in the end everyone got up and cheered, just like they did when I saw Slumdog Millionaire at ArcLight in Los Angeles. Can you imagine being alone on a roller coaster? The majority of the experience is that you are with other people and you are delighted together. This is what makes it exciting. There is nothing better than watching a story with other people. It is a collective thing and a confirmation of humanity. I'm just desperate for people to go back to the movies. It's too painful. I don't want it to ever die. Number 8211, and I'm certainly not alone. Superman, 1978. Huge cinema. We were 17 years old. It was exciting, funny and dramatic, but, the rarest of all, the lead female role was as interesting and inspiring as the male, even if she could not star. I saw The Thin Red Line in a movie theater in Toronto, Canada at the age of 20. I entered the militant atheist theater, depressed and with the conviction that working in the cinema was a superficial thing to do with my life. I left the theater with a glimpse of what faith meant, having been lifted and exhausted from my sadness, and wanting to make my own film someday. In the darkness of cinema, among foreigners, I was transformed. Memory always gives me goosebumps. Transported to the sunny Everglades, watching a glamorous speedboat pursuit, followed by the best score of John Barry accompanying George Lazenby and Diana Rigg SK2. Blue-white light filling the auditorium. It was spellbinding. They were really stupid movies, but that childhood excitement stayed with me. A well-designed story, a cinematic experience is unique. In 2 hours, you can give people a deep experience, make them question themselves, make them cry, make them laugh, lift them up and give them hope. My whole career has been devoted to reproducing the different peaks that I have known in a cinema. A memorable screening in my local cinema in Somerset was the afternoon when I saw the 15 Gremlins certificates at the age of 10. My brother and I approached the manager with The Romance of Gremlins in hand, explaining that, as we had read, we couldn't be afraid of the film. Surprisingly, he let us in, and the thrill of watching the movie, while thinking I could be kicked out at any time, was off the charts. I'm still chasing this buzz. As the past 10 years have been very effective in killing the true experience of a physically projected film by installing television screens in cinemas, I remember with Gr. It was both really visceral and stimulating, while reaffirming for me the attraction of a work rooted in craftsmanship, carried out in a physical dimension, with each cup carefully considered. There was no room for computers, only a purely human form of communication, rooted in desire, myth and magic. When I was about 15 or 16, I discovered there was a film company in Blackburn, Lancashire. He screened films once a week in a small room at the top of the library.